If you want to be a natural servant, if you want to be someone who when they see a need just naturally goes, yep, I will do it. Come to Jesus for help. He's not saying that. He's like, no, I want to help you become a natural servant. Jesus wants to help you tonight. Yeah, we're in a series tonight. We're looking at the end of the world. I don't know if you realize this, but the end of your life is coming. All right, the end of your life, it's getting closer. Every minute it's getting closer. Last time I did some research on this, and the death rate is still 100%. All right, so there's a good chance, a very good chance, that you're not gonna live till past 100, 120, 130, whatever it is. And even if Jesus came back, so Christians, if you're not a Christian here tonight, Christians have this crazy belief that Jesus is actually coming back at some point in the future. And so either your life is going to get to the end, or Jesus is going to come back before that, and he's going to do some sort of judging, sorting out heaven and hell kind of thing. And it's a really serious kind of notion what we're talking about here tonight. And Jesus told a bunch of stories to kind of help us prepare. As we're waiting for Jesus to come back, or the end of our life, a question you may have is how should I wait? What kind of things should I be doing? What should I be thinking? What kind of attitudes should I have? And so that's what we're going to try and address tonight. I'm used to waiting because when I was dating my beautiful wife Mariah, we did a year of long distance relationship. Has anyone done long distance relationships before? Yep, a few. Yep. It's pretty painful, isn't it? One thing about long distance relationships is there's lots of waiting, and we were just fresh in love, and so we'd see each other maybe every 3 weeks, and it was always so exciting. There was always so much joy in the waiting. You're like, oh, you know what, 3 weeks, I'm going to get to see Mariah, this is going to be fun, and you plan out the dates, you clear everything else from the schedule, and as you're waiting, you're sending texts, and then it gets to the day, oh, today's the day I get to see Mariah, this is going to be so much fun. I'm sure she had the same attitude as well. Definitely, yeah, definitely. Probably even more so. No, I'm joking. And there's this kind of joy in the waiting, and you do all these things to prepare so that when you get to hang out, it's going to be a really fun time together. Now, that's only waiting 3 weeks. We got a long time of waiting for Jesus or the end of our life, and the question is, how should we be waiting? So, good thing is Jesus told a story about this. And so I'm going to read the story, and then as a group and a collective tonight, we're going to kind of have a think about what is Jesus trying to say through this story. So, it is from Matthew chapter 25. We're going to chuck it up on the screen. We're going to read the Bible. And so, it's called Matthew 25 because a dude called Matthew he hung around with Jesus, and he wrote down the stories of what he saw. And so this is Jesus talking. He says, when the Son of Man comes in his glory, Son of Man is Jesus, is a translation, and all angels with him, he will sit on his glorious throne. All the nations will be gathered before him, and he will separate the people one from another as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. He will put the sheep on his right. So you guys are the sheep tonight because you're on my right. All right? I need some audience participation. Can you give me a sheep sound on 3, 2, 1? Really, really impressive. Love it. All right, great job. So you guys are the sheep, you're on my right. You lot over here, you guys are the goats. Now, a question is, what sound does a goat make? Man, that was really, really good. You know, when I thought about the sound a goat makes, does anyone remember when those goat remix things were a thing? And there was that Taylor Swift 22 song, and it was the goat remix? No, okay, sorry, all right. All right, so on 3, 2, 1, you got to make a goat sound. 3, 2, 1. Oh, wow, that was just like the Taylor Swift clip. Isaac Russell, great job. All right, so there's the sheep and the goats. And then the king, which is Jesus in this story, will say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father. Take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world." All right, there's a whole lot of stuff in that, but he's talking about heaven. He's talking about eternal life. He's talking about the good stuff. So you guys, all right, when you come before Jesus, you're going to get all the good stuff. Question is, well, why do they get this? And Jesus goes on, verse 35. "For I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you invited me in. I needed clothes and you clothed me. I was sick and you looked after me. And I was in prison and you came to visit me. So great job by the sheep. They did lots of great stuff. They then answer, they're a bit confused. They're like, Lord, when did we do all this for you? When did we see you hungry and feed you? When did we see you thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we do all this stuff for you? And Jesus replies in verse 40, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. So great job, sheep. Give yourselves a round of applause. You lived a good life. You've helped lots of people, and you get to go to heaven. Now, you lot over here, you guys are the goats. And this is what Jesus says. Then he will say to those on his left, depart from me, you who are cursed, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. It's pretty intense. Why is this the case? For when I was hungry, you gave me nothing to eat. And I won't go through the whole thing, but everything the sheep did for people, you guys unfortunately didn't. All right? And again, they're confused. They're like, I didn't think we didn't do things for you, Jesus. I didn't see that. And Jesus replies, I tell you, whatever you did not do for one of the least of these, you did not do for me. So you guys, the goats, you're going away to eternal punishment, and you guys here are going over to eternal life. And that's the end of the story. What a beautiful, uplifting story to talk about it. Well, for the sheep anyway. So the question is, what is Jesus trying to say here? As we wait for Jesus, wait for the end of our lives, what is Jesus warning us or trying to tell us through this story? All right, I got two interpretations. Interpretation number one is waiting for Jesus is about doing enough service. Now, I think when you read it at face value, it's easy to kind of come away with this kind of interpretation. All right, if you feed people, if you hydrate people, if you invite strangers in, if you do all the good stuff that Jesus had listed out here, then you almost get the tick of approval at the end. All right, has anyone used flybys before? That's probably a little bit old for this crowd, but flybys, you scan your card and you get enough points on flybys transactions and you get fuel, like cheaper fuel, and you get store up these points and you get rewards and offers. It's kind of like that. Has anyone ever played Pokemon before? No? Oh, wow, Pokemon, just the older people. Pokemon, it's like you crew up enough, if your Pokemon get enough XP points, so they kill enough do they kill Pokemon or just kind of hurt them? No, there's no Pokemon died in the production of this message. So if you get enough XP points, you get to level up. And if you get to level up, you get more rewards and stuff like that. All right, this is kind of the interpretation, and when you think about life kind of works like this. For those of us in school, the harder you work, the better grades you get. Then you might get into the better uni course. All right, for those of us that are in the workforce, the harder you work, if you get enough to tick enough of the boxes, if you created enough of a good resume, you seem to kind of level up and get the next good thing. This is kind of saying if you do enough service, if you have enough on your list of things, if you have a resume, I've got enough on my list of things, then I get to get into heaven. Now, at face value, I think this is easy to interpret, but I don't think this is what Jesus is trying to say. All right? Why do I not think that? Because it doesn't line up with the gospel. The story of Jesus didn't come to give you a whole bunch of things that you have to do. And in fact, it's the complete opposite with the gospel. One thing that's important to understand is the story of Jesus is completely opposed to earning anything. You can't earn your way to heaven. It says it in Ephesians. This is another Bible verse that's going to go up on the screen. It says this, for it is by grace you have been saved through faith. And this is not from yourselves. So that means it's nothing you do. In fact, it's a gift of God. It's not by works, so that no one can boast. And so if you're reading this and thinking, oh, right, I need to make sure I'm doing enough good stuff. I need to make sure I'm serving enough people. I need to make sure I'm the flybys card or enough XP points or a good enough resume so that I can kind of earn my way into heaven. It's not saying that. In fact, if you're trying to play that game, you're in the wrong game. All right, you've got it wrong. So then what is God trying to say? What is Jesus trying to say in this message? And I think it completely hinges on the idea that the sheep, all right, that's these guys over here, the sheep didn't even know that they were earning their way to heaven. All right, when Jesus asked them and said, oh, you did all this stuff for me. They were like, when did we do it? They were surprised. What was the reasoning for them to be serving? Was because they were just natural servers. All right, so this is interpretation number 2. Everyone put a 2 up for me. Good, all right, so actually go back to a 1, cross it out. 1's wrong, all right, cross it out, throw it away. Interpretation number 2, what is Jesus trying to say? Waiting for Jesus is about becoming someone who wants to serve. That's what Jesus is trying to say in this message. He wants us to be someone that when they see a need or hear of something, that the service just naturally flows out of us. As we're waiting for Jesus, he wants us to become the person, as we go along our life and get closer and closer to the end, whatever our end is, he wants us to become increasingly someone that naturally serves people. I know someone that's a great server. It is my mum. There's a photo of her up on the screen. I think it's going to go up. This is me and my mum. And she is one of those people. Have you ever met those people, right, that just are so good at serving people? All right, they bring such life to everything they do because they just want to serve. She always serves at her church. She's a primary school music teacher, and she's always helping out at her primary school with musicals and extra things. She just loves to serve people. And above all the other people she serves, she loves to serve me. I know I could call her right now and be like, Mum, I've got an emergency at my house. My sewage pipe is just broken, and there is all the sewage stuff all over the ground. And it's gross, and it's stinky, and it's awful, and I need you to come help me clean it up. It's a really awful job. Do you know what she would say? I'll be there. All right? She would love it, and not only would she come to help, she would love it. I know, it's weird to think. She actually would. She would love to just get in and help. And in fact, I could call my mum with any need that I have, and she would just drop everything, whatever she's doing, and she would come to help. And why does she love to help me? Because she loves me. All right? She's desperate to help because she loves me. And in Christianity, we actually believe that there's a part of God in every single person on earth. That includes you. If you're here tonight, we believe that the image of God is actually implanted in you. And so therefore, when Jesus is saying, when you serve the least of these, you served me, that's because we're serving the part. All right, when I go and serve someone, I'm actually serving God because there's a part of God in them. This is our response to the love of Jesus. All right, Jesus says, what's the most important commandment? Love God. Second most important commandment? Love others. This is one of the best ways we can show our love for God is to, in fact, love and serve others. So a response in love to Jesus is a response that naturally just wants to serve. It says in the Bible, in another part of the Bible, Philippians chapter 2, it says this: Jesus, who being in very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. Rather, he made himself nothing by taking the very nature of a servant, being made in human likeness. What does that mean? That means over 2,000 years ago, before Jesus came to this earth, God and Jesus were up in heaven and they were looking at the mess of humanity in the earth. They're looking, gee, there's a lot of brokenness and pain and suffering and problems, and it's a bit of a mess down there. And they've got no way to save themselves. What are we going to do about this? So Jesus and God, they got everything they need in heaven. What are we going to do about this? And Jesus says, I'm going to go down there. I'm going to step into the mess. I'm going to give myself up. I'm going to sacrifice. I'm going to die on a cross. I'm going to serve. And he didn't even think twice about it. It says, who being in very nature God. This is just naturally Jesus' response to the problem of sin and brokenness in the world. He naturally says, yep, I want to be there. I want to serve. I want to help. And so Jesus is just asking the same from us. He's saying, but to be a follower of me is in fact to be someone that will naturally serve. I think I've got the 2 paths. I think there's a little slide up here. And this is kind of what the message is saying. This is what the passage is saying, rather. That there's 2 paths in life. All right, there's the goat's path over here, which was the natural non-server. You guys spent your life not serving. You didn't even realize it. You got to the end of it and like, oh yeah, whatever. I didn't even realize I wasn't. And then the sheep, on the other hand, they were the natural servers. They were the people that yes, it just naturally flowed out of them because of our love for Jesus and what Jesus has done for us. We naturally then want to serve. And so they're the 2 paths to choose from. And I think Jesus is telling this story to just kind of give us a warning, to give us a bit of extra information, to be like, if you want to be a Christian, this is what it looks like. I'd say this: serving the least of these isn't what a Christian has to do. All right? So if you're thinking, oh, geez, this is another thing I have to do, I've got to serve more. Stop it. All right? It's not what a Christian has to do. This isn't another list, something to add to your list of already full lists that you have. It's not what a Christian has to do. It's what a Christian does. All right? Serving the least of these is not what a Christian has to do. It's what a Christian does. And so as we step deeper into relationship with Jesus, we therefore then become a more natural server. Now, a little illustration to kind of explain this is I'm a school teacher. Right? Now, I can be a teacher and not really a teacher. All right? What is the definition of a teacher? Someone who teaches. Good, that's the definition of a teacher. I can go into school and do zero teaching, babysit the kids for the whole time, not teach them anything. They can just be mucking around doing whatever they want. And then when it gets to the exam time, I can give them the answers. They can put in all the answers that I give them. They can all get A's. They're all happy. The parents are all happy. I'm happy. Boom, done. Sounds like a pretty good class. All right? And everyone would be like, oh yeah, Zach, he's that teacher. Yeah, he teaches down at that school, Mueller. Yeah, he's a teacher. But am I actually a teacher? No, why? Because I'm not actually teaching anything. All right, and this is the same message Jesus is trying to tell us, is that what is an actual Christian? It's someone who therefore naturally serves. All right, so this is what I think Jesus is trying to say, but there's another problem with this, which is when we look inside of our own hearts, many of us would be, I'm not sure if I'm like that. You read that slide, become someone who wants to serve, and you're like, you know, I believe in the Jesus thing. I'd call myself a Christian. I'm not sure if I'm there yet. And I would look into my own heart and go, gee, there's a lot of times I didn't naturally want to serve. All right? When I get met with needs, I'm like, oh, I'm pretty tired for this, or I haven't got enough energy, or someone else will sort it out. There's a lot of times in my life I don't naturally want to serve. And so what do we do then in this space? If we're like, yep, you know what, a response to Jesus is to be a natural server, you're like, yeah, I want to be like that, but I'm just not. What do we do? And this is my last point for tonight. If you want to be a natural server, if you want to be someone who when they see a need just naturally goes, yep, I will do it, come to Jesus for help. You know, Jesus wants to be a sheep, wants us to be sheep. He wants us to be natural servers. He doesn't say, all right, that's your problem. When it gets to judgment time, make sure you got yourself sorted out before you come back to me. He's not saying that. He's like, no, I want to help you become a natural server. Jesus wants to help you tonight. All he's asking us is that we come towards him so that he can help us. John 14:16 says this, and this is Jesus talking, and I will ask the Father, and he will give you another advocate to help you and be with you forever. All right, he's talking about the Holy Spirit here. I'm not going to go into all the particulars of Jesus, Holy Spirit, God, the Trinitarian God, but essentially what Jesus is saying is, I'm going to be there to help you. I want you to be a servant-hearted person as well. I will, just like he turned up 2,000 years ago to step into humanity to help, he wants to do that again for you tonight. And every step of this journey that you're going to go on to continue to become a servant-hearted person. To give you a story to help, I think it was about a year ago, I wanted to sort out a garden bed at my house, right? And to sort out this garden bed, it required me to build a retaining wall. Has anyone ever built a retaining wall before? Okay, good, all right. I never had. I had no idea how to do it. I was like, I really want to build this retaining wall, but I don't know how. And I went to my mate Ryan, and he was like, let's do it. Now, I'm not a retaining wall guy. I can't naturally do it. My mate Ryan, he is. He's one of those people that just knows how to do it. I suck at all the stuff like handyman work. Terrible with it. All right, I had to change a bike tire for my wife. It's how long has it been since I've changed it? Never. Yeah. I never got to it because I watched the YouTube clip and they make it seem so simple. Yeah, you just take the back chain off. I'm like, the latch on the YouTube clip, there's no latch on my bike. I don't know how to get it off. You try to yank at the chain, it just doesn't work. And so I went with my mate. Ryan was like, yep, let's do it. You want to become a retaining wall guy? Yep, I'll come and help you. And he knew how to do everything naturally, right? We walk up to Bunnings, And Bunnings is a big, scary place, right? It's so big, you don't know, and you don't never want to act in Bunnings like you don't know what you're doing because you feel like you're socially judged. And so I rock up in Bunnings and I have no idea. He's like, all right, we need 14 pine sleepers. I don't know that you could get a sleeper in a pine variety. I don't even know what that is. He's like, yep, they're over there. So I go and pick up these sleepers. He's like, all right, we need concrete. I'm like, does Bunnings even sell concrete? Like, wouldn't you need a concrete truck for that? I got no idea. And now there's these bags of concrete. I go pick up the concrete, put it in the trailer. He's driving and backing the trailer up around him, inside Bunnings. I would never drive a trailer in Bunnings. All right? It's you got to back it around and all this stuff. I'm just not that kind of guy. But as we worked together, all right, he took me step by step, helped me through it, and it was pretty hard work, to be honest. There was another mate of mine, Jordan, that came to help us as well, and we kind of step by step did it, and this was the end result. Check this thing out. Come on. That's good. He showed me, it was hard work. We were digging holes. How many people have dug a hole before? Yeah, it's really hard work. All right, it's exhausting. We were doing it in the heat of the summer, and it was hot, and it was just it was really, it was difficult. Now I think it's now got some landscaping. Oh, it looks even nicer. Look at that. I was so confident in it, I didn't even do the edge trimming around. You can see there's weeds and everything around it. But anyway, I didn't want to appear something that I'm not. So Ryan just helped me through. He was a retaining wall guy. Now, as we did this together, as we worked on it together, he said, let's do it. I actually kind of became more of a retaining wall guy. Now, could I build a retaining wall for you? Probably don't ask me. I'm not there yet. I'm not a retaining wall dude yet. But I reckon if we did a couple more retaining walls and he continued to show me how to do it, I'm pretty confident I could do it. I would no longer not be a retaining wall guy. I would be one of those dudes. And this is what Jesus does for us with becoming servant-hearted. We may not be naturally a servant-hearted person where we are right now. But as we come to Jesus, just as Ryan said to me, yeah, mate, let's do it. He could be saying to you tonight, yep, let's do it. You want to be someone who naturally serves? Yep, I want that for you too. I'm going to come and help. That means as you're tired and thinking, oh, gee, this is pretty exhausting, you pray for strength. Jesus actually supernaturally provides the strength. It means as you're in a space of service and you're I don't really know what to do here. This looks like I'm confused or I'm not sure and I'm not sure what step would be next. You pray for wisdom. Jesus actually turns up and gives us wisdom. He's in it with you. He wants this for you. And in fact, this is why Christians have been able to be the most servant-hearted religion in the history of the world. Do you know, you come from if you're a Christian here tonight, you come from a long line of people that have served. All right, Christians have literally transformed the world. Did you know that hospitals were a Christian invention? Schools were a Christian invention. We just take that for granted now because people know it's good for our culture to have these things, but they were Christian inventions. And they came about because Christians said, yes, I want to serve. And Jesus turned up in a supernatural way, and they came to him and said, I need help with this, and he helped them. There's a few charities that you may know the names of: World Vision, Compassion we heard about earlier tonight, St. Vinny's, Lifeline. These are just a few. I just did a little bit of research. These are just a few that were all started by people in recent time that wanted to just serve their community. And I'm sure it was really hard work. But they put their hand up and said, yeah, I want to be one of those people that naturally serves, and Jesus came and helped them with that. We have a calling, all right? If you're a Lifepointer tonight, if you would call this place home, we have a calling that we want to reach the Moreton Bay region for Jesus. We want to see thousands of lives transformed in this area, and that's a really big calling. It's going to be really, really hard. We need to come to Jesus and ask him for help. He's going to guide us through this. And I thought, I want to say one thing and then I'll go to a list. First of all, this is not a guilt trip at all tonight. All of this is a response out of love for Jesus. If you're feeling at all guilty tonight, don't worry about doing anything else. Just pray to Jesus tonight and say, Jesus, I just need your help. That's all I want from you. This is not a message to say, oh, you need to be serving more. That's not what this is. All of our service is out of response of what Jesus has done for us. And so don't take this away as a guilt trip. This is not to say you need to be doing more. That's the opposite of what this is trying to say. This is saying, let Jesus help you become the person that naturally serves. And I thought to finish, we just put a few little, you might be thinking, what's the next step? I'm just going to put a few little ideas on the screen. You might be like, okay, well, what could I actually do as a next step? I want to be someone that serves. What could be a next step for me? And there's a few up there that you could choose from. And the challenge might be for you just this week. You just want to step into being someone who naturally serves, and you could step into one of those. So yeah, we're going to do the come to Jesus, the last point. We're going to do that now. We're just going to come towards him. And if you have a relationship with Jesus, we're going to ask him to help us become the people that naturally serve. And this is the way I believe that we're going to continue to see our community transformed. I want to say this church is a servant-hearted church. Well, I feel like almost every second week, Jace is sharing up the front about someone we've been able to bless in the community because of the generosity of this church. I look out at the people and I'm seeing faces. I'm like, I know so many people fully understand this. And we just want to continue to just step into that space to be a church that serves our community. So we're going to come to him now. If you just want to close your eyes, we're just going to pray.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that. If you did and you want more Lifepoint content, subscribe to our channel right now. Or if you're in the area around Moreton Bay or Rothwell, head to our service. Sunday, we'd love to see you there. lifepoint.org.au for all the details. We'll see you soon.